First, why video? I mean, over the 20th century, it has basically supplanted all other media in terms of consumption. Whether you look at, hours consumed or dollars spent. And of the first 12 years of the 21st century, it's been also the primary driver of time spent online in terms of the, offline to online migration. It's also been, a default vehicle for creativity and social connectedness alike. Where does that take us? And we think of it as a 40-40-20. 40% of the people interviews are already still staying on that side of the bridge. They only use TV to watch video content. 40% already somewhere on the way crossing the bridge. They are using other devices on top of TV, alongside a TV set, to watch other genres. Mostly PCs, but only increasingly tablets. Most interestingly, 20% are already on the other side. They're on the East Bay at this point. They've left San Francisco. 20% of them do not turn their TV on to watch some specific genre, right? So it's not every genre, it's not every people, but especially for news, they already moved away from the traditional device that he used. That number goes up to 50% for tablets owner.
All of these different forms of media are at some point competitive with each other, right? They're competitive for the hours of the day that we spend and competitive for the dollars that we spend as consumers and as marketers spend to try and reach consumers. And so we're focusing on the big pie of video.
Now the challenge is when you really look underneath the numbers, TV and TV economics have never been better. And in fact, the projections for the next 3 years are they're going to continue to get better. What those in the industry would say is that all of this online behavior and all of these new forms of content have been largely additive. At this point though, we may be at an inflection point that traditional TV consumption will never be better than it is today, and that we're going to start to see time substitution with new forms of video, new distribution vehicles, and therefore start to see some impacts on the overall economics of TV and film as we know it.
Small changes in behavior can have massive impact on business models. The constraints that Patrick mentioned on distribution and programming are built around a status quo of what the business should look like and what consumers should be doing. And even slight changes, before we stretch the lines out 10 years, may actually have massive changes to what you see and how you see it.
We already see the fraying around the edges for film. And they're already feeling that. The movie studio made $14 when they sold the DVD, but rather when I view it on Netflix or I go pop it out of a kiosk, the studio makes less than 50 cents. And so that's a much cheaper view. Forget about even free. It's a much cheaper view, and therefore the economics start to fray around the edges. So distribution and distribution alternatives have been and will be the first thing that will start to negatively impact the economics. Now, when consumer behaviors change, that's when we really start to see the unraveling of the economics and the industry structure.